The council chambers were designed to inspire awe. The circular room stretched 300 meters across with seating for representatives from all 12 member species. High above, a dome of transparent metal showed the stars beyond. In the center stood the speaking platform, where those addressing the council would stand exposed to judgment from all sides. Velthas sat in the observer section, watching as the council members filed in. This was an emergency session, called within hours of Harmony's light arriving at the station. Word had spread quickly. Humans had returned and the Ravagers were active again. The chamber buzzed with anxious conversation. Some council members looked curious. Others looked afraid. Elder Thressen stood on the speaking platform with Day, Hana, and Wu beside her. The three humans stood quietly, observing everything. Velthas noticed how they positioned themselves, backs to each other, able to see in all directions. Even here, in the safest place in the galaxy, they maintained combat awareness. High Chancellor Drexvon called the session to order. He was from the Krell species, crystalline beings who communicated through light patterns. His translated voice sounded like wind chimes. Elder Thressen, please present your report. Thressen bowed respectfully and began. She described finding the humans in the quarantine zone. She explained how their ship had been attacked by Ravagers. She detailed how the three humans had saved her crew using tactics and thinking that no council species possessed. The chamber remained silent as she spoke. When she finished, the questions began. You claim these humans defeated 6 Ravager vessels? Asked Council Member Zixtar, a floating jellyfish-like being. How is that possible? Day stepped forward. May I answer? Drexvon's light pattern shifted, the equivalent of a nod. Please speak. We used the resources we had, Day explained. Your ship had shields, engines, sensors. We used them in unconventional ways. We studied the enemy's tactics and exploited their weaknesses. This is basic military strategy. Basic? Another council member spoke up, a fuzzy mammalian being named Peltix. We have no military. We have not fought wars in centuries. What you call basic is completely foreign to us. That is the problem, Wu said. He spoke respectfully but firmly. You have lived in peace for so long that you have forgotten danger exists. The Ravagers remember. They have been hiding, growing stronger, and now they have returned. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Council members shifted uncomfortably. Why should we believe the Ravagers are truly a threat? Asked another member. We saw them defeated once. Perhaps they learned peace as well. Hana shook her head. We accessed their communications during the battle. They spoke of reclaiming territory, of restarting their conquest. They called you soft prey and weaklings. They see your peace as weakness to exploit. The chamber erupted in worried conversations. Drexvon raised his crystalline arms, calling for silence. Let us address the larger question. Humans were quarantined for 10,000 years because you were deemed too dangerous. What has changed? Day took a breath before answering. Everything and nothing. We are still the same species that fought the Ravagers. We still have the instincts and abilities that made us dangerous. But we have also grown. We learned to control our violent nature. We built a civilization based on cooperation instead of conquest. We do not want to dominate anyone. We want to join you, to be part of the galactic community. But you admit you are still dangerous, Zixtar pointed out. Yes, Dai said honestly. We will not lie about what we are. Humans are capable of violence, but we are also capable of choosing peace. For 2,000 years, we have not fought wars against ourselves. We have focused on science, art, exploration. We came to the stars hoping to find friends, not enemies. Peltic spoke again. What guarantee can you give us that humans will not become a threat? None, Hana said bluntly. We cannot prove the future. No species can. You must decide based on our actions, not our potential. We saved Elder Thressen and her crew. We could have stolen their ship and escaped. We could have left them to die. But we chose to help. Because it benefited you, someone called out. You needed their ship to leave the quarantine zone. We could have taken their ship by force, Wu countered. 3 of us against 12 of them. With our training and their lack of combat experience, it would have been easy. But we did not, because that is not who we are anymore. Velthas stood up, surprising himself. May I speak? Drexvon's lights flickered with curiosity. You are a witness to these events. Please share your thoughts, Scholar Velthas. Velthas walked to the speaking platform, his heart racing. I have studied the old records. I have read about the ancient war between humans and Ravagers, and I have spent days with these three humans. I believe we face a choice that will define our future." He paused, gathering his courage. "The Ravagers have returned. This is not speculation, this is fact. They attacked us without provocation. They will attack again, and we are not prepared. We have no warriors, no experience with combat, no instincts for survival against a determined enemy." "What are you suggesting?" Drexvon asked. "I am suggesting we need help," Velthus said. "These humans saved us once. They can teach us to defend ourselves, not to become warriors like them, but to understand tactics and strategy, to not be helpless when faced with violence. You want to invite predators into our home," Peltic said with fear in her voice. "I want to invite survivors into our home," Velthus corrected. "The records show that when humans fought the Ravagers, they also protected other species. They helped evacuate civilian populations. They shared their defensive technology. Yes, they were dangerous, but they were dangerous to threats, not to innocents." An older council member named Torgon spoke up. He was from the same species as Elder Thressen, and his forearms gestured with authority. "I was present at the final vote 10,000 years ago. I was young then, but I remember. The decision to quarantine humans was not unanimous. Many of us argued they should be welcomed as protectors. We were overruled by fear. The chamber went silent." Torgon continued. "For 10,000 years we have lived in peace because the Ravagers believed humans were still guarding the galaxy. They feared human retaliation. But now they have realized the truth. Humans were locked away. We are alone, undefended. And they are coming." Drexvon's lights pulsed rapidly. "You believe the quarantine actually created the situation?" "I believe we made a mistake," Torgon said firmly. "We chose fear over wisdom, and now we have a chance to correct that mistake." More council members began speaking, debating. The chamber filled with voices arguing for and against accepting humanity. Finally, Drexvon called for order again. "Humans, I have a question for you. If we reject you now, if we demand you return to isolation, what will you do?" The three humans looked at each other. Then Day spoke. "We would be disappointed. We would return to Earth and tell our people that the galaxy is not ready for us. But we would not stop exploring. We would not stop growing. And if the Ravagers threaten Earth, we would defend ourselves." "And if the Ravagers threaten us?" Peltix asked quietly. Hana answered, "If you reject us, you have no right to ask for our help." The blunt honesty shocked the chamber. But then Hana continued, "However, humans have a saying, no one left behind. Even if you reject us, even if you fear us, we would not stand by and watch the Ravagers destroy innocent people. We would help. Because that is what humans do. We help those who cannot help themselves," Wu added. "But it would be better for everyone if we worked together, if we shared knowledge and resources, if we became allies instead of strangers." Drexvon's lights dimmed in a way that suggested deep thought. "The council will vote on this matter. But first, I want to propose something unusual. Let the humans demonstrate their intentions." "How?" asked Zixtar. "Let them help us prepare defenses," Drexvon said. "If the Ravagers are truly returning, we need to be ready. Let these three humans work with our security forces. Train them! Teach them. If they prove trustworthy over time, we can vote on full membership. If they prove dangerous, we can ask them to leave. And if they refuse to leave?" someone asked. Day smiled sadly. "Then you would be right to fear us. But we would leave if asked fairly. We are not conquerors." The council debated for hours. Velthus watched from his seat, exhausted. Finally, Drexvon called for a preliminary vote. "All in favor of allowing humans to assist with defense preparations, knowing we will vote later on full membership." Lights and colors and sounds filled the chamber as council members voted. Velthus held his breath. Drexvon counted, his lights pulsing with each tally. "The vote is accepted, by a narrow margin. The humans may stay and assist us." Relief flooded through Velthus. It was not full acceptance, but it was a start. Day bowed to the council. "Thank you. We will not disappoint you." As the session ended and council members filed out, many approached the humans with cautious curiosity. Some kept their distance, but the mood had shifted from pure fear to uncertain hope. Velthus joined the humans outside the chamber. "Congratulations. Thank you for speaking on our behalf," Hana said warmly. "I only told the truth," Velthus replied. "But the real work begins now. You must prove yourselves." We will. Wu promised. Days turned into weeks. The humans began working with Council security forces. And now Velthus realized with equal parts fear and wonder, they had returned to the galaxy. The Harmony's light traveled through faster-than-light space for 3 days. The crew moved quietly through the corridors, still processing what had happened. They kept their distance from the 3 humans, watching them with a mixture of respect and fear. Velthus spent those days in the archive room, reviewing every file he could find about humans and the Ravagers. The more he read, the more troubled he became. The war between the 2 species had been brutal. The Ravagers had attacked human colonies without mercy. The humans had responded with tactics that shocked even the ancient Council observers. One report stuck in his mind. A human commander had rammed his damaged ship directly into a Ravager battle station, destroying both. His last transmission had been simple. For Earth. No hesitation, no fear. Just absolute determination. On the 3rd day, Elder Thressen called a meeting in the common area. The entire crew gathered, along with Dai, Hana, and Wu. The humans sat together, relaxed but alert. Always alert, Velthus noticed. "We will reach Council space in 6 hours, Thressen announced. "When we arrive, I must make a full report. That report will include everything that happened in the quarantine zone. The Council will want to know about you." Day nodded slowly. "We understand." "I must ask you questions," Thressen continued. "Personal questions. I need to understand what humans have become in 10,000 years. We will answer honestly," Hana said. Thressen settled into her seat, all 4 arms folded in a gesture of careful attention. "Let me start with this. Your people were isolated for 10,000 years. What did you do during that time?" Wu answered first. "We grew. When the quarantine began, humans had barely reached our own moon. We were divided into hundreds of nations, constantly fighting each other. The isolation forced us to look inward. We almost destroyed ourselves," Day added quietly. "Several times. We developed weapons that could end all life on our planet. We poisoned our oceans and air. We fought wars that killed millions." The crew shifted uncomfortably. This confirmed their fears, but Hana continued. "Then we learned, slowly, painfully. We realized that our strength, our ability to fight and survive, meant nothing if we used it against ourselves. We began to cooperate instead of compete. It took thousands of years, but we built a unified world government. We cleaned our planet. We reached out to our solar system and colonized other worlds." "And your military training?" Thressen asked. "All of you mentioned being soldiers. Earth still has a military," Day explained. "But we have not fought a war against ourselves in over 2,000 years. The military exists for defense, disaster response, and exploration. Every citizen serves for 3 years. We learn discipline, teamwork, and how to handle crisis situations." "You learned to kill," Morth said bluntly. "Yes," Day agreed without shame. "We learned to kill. Because the universe is dangerous, and being peaceful does not mean being helpless. We remember what happened with the Ravagers. We remember that there are threats that do not respond to diplomacy." Velthus spoke up. "But you are researchers now. You chose science over war." Wu smiled. "They are not so different. Science is about solving problems. War is about solving problems. The only difference is the stakes and the methods." "That is a frightening way to think," Chirik said. "Maybe," Hana replied, "but it is honest. Humans are adaptable. We can be scientists and soldiers, teachers and warriors, artists and survivors. We contain multitudes." Thressen was quiet for a moment. "I have read some of the old reports. The Ravagers feared humans. Not because you were stronger or more advanced. They feared you because you would not quit. Even when facing certain death, humans would keep fighting." "Is that still true?" The 3 humans exchanged glances. Some unspoken communication passed between them. Finally, Day spoke. "There is an old saying on Earth. It comes from my people, from Korea. It says a bamboo tree bends in the storm but does not break. Humans are like bamboo. We bend under pressure. We adapt, we endure, but we do not break. What if we asked you to leave?" Chirix asked suddenly. "What if the Council decided humans were too dangerous and demanded you return to your quarantine?" The mood in the room shifted. The crew tensed. The humans did not, Hana answered carefully. "We would be disappointed. We came out here to meet other civilizations, to share knowledge and culture, to not be alone in the universe anymore." "But you would leave if ordered?" Thressen pressed. We would comply with reasonable requests, Day said. His tone remained friendly, but something in his eyes hardened. But we would not return to a prison. We have done nothing wrong. We will not be punished for the sins of our ancestors or for things we have not done. That sounds like a threat, Morth whispered. It is a statement of fact, Wu corrected. Humans do not respond well to injustice. It is part of our nature. We will accept fair treatment, but we will resist unfair treatment. Always. Silence filled the room. The council crew members looked at each other nervously. Velthus broke the tension. I do not think the council will reject you. Many species were afraid when they first met each other, but we learned to coexist. We can learn to coexist with humans too. I hope you are right, Thressen said. She looked tired. But I fear the council will see only the danger and not the potential. The meeting ended and the crew dispersed. Velthus found himself walking with Hana toward the observation deck. She seemed to want company, and he was curious to learn more about humans. They stood at the large window, watching the strange colors of faster-than-light travel swirl past. Can I ask you something personal? Velthus said. Of course. When we were fighting the Ravagers, you did not seem afraid. None of you did. How is that possible? Hana considered the question. We were afraid. Fear is natural. It keeps you alert. But humans learn to act despite fear. We call it courage. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to do what is necessary anyway. I froze during the battle, Velthus admitted. I could barely think. That is because you have never needed to fight before, Hana said kindly. Your species evolved without predators. You never developed the instincts for combat. That is good. It means you grew up in safety. But humans did not. No, Hana agreed. Earth was never safe. Everything on our planet was trying to kill us, the weather, the animals, the diseases, even the plants. We developed instincts for survival because the alternative was extinction. Those instincts are still with us. Velthus watched her reflection in the window. Do you ever wish you came from a peaceful world? Where you did not have to be warriors? Hana was quiet for a long time. Sometimes, she finally said, it would be nice to not carry that weight. But I am proud of what humans overcame. We survived the unsurvivable. We thrived in conditions that would kill most species. And now we can use that strength to protect instead of destroy. That is worth something. The council will see you as weapons, Velthus said sadly. Perhaps, Hana replied. But weapons can be tools for peace. A sword in a sheath prevents more violence than it causes. The question is whether the council will trust us to keep our sword sheathed. They stood in silence, watching the stars blur past. Later, Velthus returned to his quarters and continued his research. He found a report written by a council observer 10,000 years ago. The observer had watched a human rescue team save aliens from a collapsing colony. The humans had risked their lives repeatedly, carrying people to safety through fire and debris. 3 humans had died in the rescue. The observer's conclusion haunted Velthus. Humans are capable of great violence, but also great compassion. They will die for strangers without hesitation. They will sacrifice themselves for abstract concepts like honor and duty. I do not understand them, but I do not fear them. I pity them for carrying such a heavy burden, to be both the sword and the shield of the galaxy. 6 hours later, the Harmony's light dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Council space. Ahead of them, the great station of the Galactic Council hung in orbit around a blue star. It was enormous. A city in space, home to millions of beings from 12 different species. We are being hailed, the communications officer announced. Council security wants a full report on our mission. Send them the preliminary data, Thressen ordered. Tell them we have encountered a species from the quarantine zone. Tell them we are bringing them to Council chambers for formal first contact. Should I mention the Ravagers? The officer asked. Thressen hesitated, then nodded. Yes, tell them the Ravagers have returned. And tell them we survived because 3 humans saved us, the message was sent. Velthus imagined the chaos it would cause. The Council had believed the Ravagers were extinct. And now humans, the species that had been quarantined for 10,000 years, had returned at the same time. It was too much coincidence. Day stood at the viewing screen, looking at the massive station. It is beautiful, he said quietly. It is the heart of galactic civilization, Velthus said. 12 species working together in peace. 13 soon, perhaps, Hana said hopefully. Wu looked less optimistic. Or 12 species united against one. As the Harmony's light approached the station, Velthus wondered which future awaited them. Would the Council embrace humanity or fear them? Would the humans become protectors or threats? And somewhere in the dark of space, Velthus knew. The Ravage. Elder Thressen rushed to the command deck with the 3 humans following close behind. Velthus ran after them, his heart's pounding. Through the viewing screen, he counted 6 Ravager ships approaching in attack formation. How is this possible? Thressen demanded. The Ravagers have been extinct for thousands of years. Apparently not, Morth said from the sensor station. His eye stalks trembled with fear. They are powering weapons. Elder, we must flee. Begin retreat protocols, Thressen ordered. Full speed away from— Wait, Day interrupted. Can you show me their weapon configurations? Thressen looked at the human with surprise. Why would— Please, Day said firmly. I need to see them. Thressen gestured to Morth, who displayed the tactical data. Day studied it for only a few seconds, then nodded to himself. These are scout ships, Day announced. Light armor, energy weapons, fast engines. Designed for reconnaissance and harassment, not heavy combat. How do you know this? Velthus asked. Military history was required learning on Earth, Day replied. We studied warfare extensively. These ships follow classic scout doctrine. Stay mobile, strike weak points, avoid direct engagement. Wu moved closer to the sensor display. Their formation is wrong for an attack. See how they are spread out? They are trying to surround us, box us in. They want to capture, not destroy. That does not matter, Thressen said. We are a research vessel. We have no weapons. We must run. You will not outrun them, Hana said quietly. She had been watching the navigation data. Their engines are more powerful. They will catch you before you can jump to faster than light speed. The command deck fell silent except for the beeping of alarms. The crew looked terrified. The Vorthak were record keepers, not warriors. The Cheer were traders and diplomats. None of the Council species had fought a real war in living memory. The communications console chimed. They are hailing us, the officer reported. Answer it, Thressen said. The screen showed a Ravager commander. The creature was a nightmare. Cybernetic enhancements covered most of its body, metal fused with flesh. Red optical sensors glowed where eyes should have been. When it spoke, the voice sounded mechanical and cold. Council vessel, you have violated the quarantine zone. Surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded. This is Elder Thressen of the Galactic Council. We are on a peaceful rescue mission. We have harmed no one. Irrelevant, the Ravager said. The quarantine must be maintained. You will surrender, or you will be destroyed. You have 2 minutes to decide. The transmission ended. What do we do? Someone asked in a panicked voice. Thressen looked at her crew, then at the approaching ships. Her antennae drooped with resignation. We surrender. It is the only way to save lives. No, Day said. Everyone turned to look at him. No, Thressen repeated. Young human, you do not understand. We cannot fight them. We are not warriors. But we are, Day said simply. He looked at Hana and Wu. They both nodded. If you want to live, let us help. Help how? Velthus asked. You said yourself you are just researchers. Wu smiled, and it was not a friendly smile. All Earth citizens receive military training. It is mandatory. We may be researchers now, but we were soldiers once. Thressen stared at them. Even if that is true, there are 3 of you and 6 heavily armed ships. Then we will need to be creative, Day said. He turned to the crew. I need full access to your navigation and weapon systems. We do not have weapons, the tactical officer protested. Everything is a weapon if you are creative enough, Hana said. Your shields can be overloaded to create electromagnetic pulses. Your engines can be vented to create a debris field. Your sensors can be used to jam their communications. You have tools. We just need to use them differently. This is madness, Thressen said, but Velthus heard uncertainty in her voice, not refusal. 1 minute remaining, Morth announced. Day stepped close to Thressen. His voice became soft but intense. Elder, I understand you are a peaceful people. That is admirable. But those ships out there are not peaceful. They will not show mercy. I have read about the Ravagers. I know what they do to prisoners. Please, let us try. Thressen looked into Day's eyes. Whatever she saw there made her decision. Do what you must. The 3 humans moved with sudden speed and purpose. Day took the navigation console. Hana moved to the tactical station. Wu went to communications and sensors. The crew stepped aside, too shocked to argue. 30 seconds, Morth said weakly. Morth, I need you to keep the sensors running, Wu said while his hands flew over the controls. Can you do that for me? Yes, I can do that. Good. You are going to be my eyes. Wu's voice was calm and encouraging, like he was teaching a child. Just keep telling me what the enemy ships are doing. Day spoke while rerouting navigation systems. Elder, I'm going to do some hard maneuvers. Tell your crew to strap into their seats and hold on to something. Do as he says, Thressen ordered. The crew scrambled to secure themselves. Time is up, Morth announced. They are moving to intercept. Here we go, Day said. The Harmony's light suddenly accelerated straight toward the Ravager ships. The crew cried out in alarm. Velthas felt himself pressed into his seat by the force. What are you doing? Someone screamed. Fighting, Day replied calmly. The Ravager ships scattered, not expecting the Council vessel to charge them. Day flew through the gap they created, spinning the ship in a corkscrew pattern that made Velthas feel sick. Hana now, Day called. Hana triggered the shield overload. The Harmony's light released a pulse of electromagnetic energy in all directions. 2 Ravager ships were caught in the blast. Their systems flickered and died, leaving them drifting. 4 left, Wu reported. They are regrouping. Day changed course, heading toward a nearby asteroid field. We need cover. Those asteroids are too dense, the navigation officer protested. We will crash. Not if I am careful, Day said. His hands moved over the controls with practiced ease. They entered the asteroid field at a speed that seemed suicidal. Rocks the size of buildings rushed past the viewing screen. The crew watched in horror as Day wove between them, using maneuvers that should have been impossible for a ship this size. They are following us in, Morth reported. Good, Hana said. She was working on something at the tactical console. 2 Ravager ships entered the field behind them. They moved more carefully, more predictably. Day led them deeper, then suddenly reversed thrust and spun the ship around. Hana! Hana fired the cargo bay's magnetic tethers, designed for capturing space debris, at a massive asteroid. She then released the tether tension suddenly, using the cargo bay's emergency jettison system. The asteroid was pulled toward them, then released like a slingshot stone. It tumbled directly into the path of the pursuing Ravager ships. One tried to dodge and crashed into another asteroid. The second ship took the impact head-on and exploded. 2 more down, Wu said. 2 remaining. The last 2 Ravager ships had learned caution. They positioned themselves outside the asteroid field, waiting. They are calling for reinforcements, Wu announced. More ships are jumping into the sector. We have maybe 5 minutes. Day guided the Harmony's light out of the asteroid field on the opposite side from the Ravagers. We need to take out these last 2 before their friends arrive. How? Velthas asked. We used our best tricks, Hana smiled. Then we used their tricks against them. She worked quickly at the communications console. Wu, I need you to hack their command channel. Already on it, Wu replied. His fingers danced across the console. Their security is old, very old. Based on pre-quantum encryption, this will be easy. Easy? Morth squeaked. You are hacking Ravager military systems. Yes, Wu said simply. 30 seconds later, he nodded. I am in. What do you need? Send them a message, Hana instructed. Make it look like it is coming from their command ship. Tell them we have a biological weapon on board. Tell them to maintain distance. Wu typed rapidly, then hit send. Done. On the screen, Velthas saw the 2 Ravager ships suddenly break formation and retreat to a safer distance. They believed it? Thressen asked in disbelief. Fear is universal, Day said, and the Ravagers have reason to fear biological weapons from Earth. It is in their historical records. Now what? Velthas asked. Day checked the navigation display. Now we run while they are confused. By the time they figure out we were bluffing, we will be ready to jump away. The Harmony's light accelerated toward the edge of the system. Behind them, more Ravager ships appeared, but they maintained their distance, apparently believing the biological weapon story. When they reached safe distance, Day transferred control back to the regular crew. You can jump now. The ship entered faster than light travel, leaving the Ravager ships behind. For a long moment, no one spoke. The command deck was silent except for the sound of breathing and the hum of the engines. Finally, Thressen stood on shaking legs. What? What did you just do? Day looked tired. We survived. That is what humans do best. Veltha stared at the three humans. They had just defeated 6 Ravager ships with nothing but a research vessel and their minds. The old files had been right. Humans were not dangerous because they were cruel or monstrous. They were dangerous because they refused to quit, because they saw opportunities where others saw only death, because they had spent millions of years learning how to survive on a world that tried to kill them every single day. The Harmony's light dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the quarantine yellow zone. Through the main viewing screen, Veltha saw nothing but empty space and distant stars. The sensors showed no signs of life, no energy readings, no artificial structures. Elder Thressen stood at the command console, her translator humming softly. Begin deep scan of the sector. Focus on the coordinates where the distress signal originated. The crew worked quietly. Most of them were nervous. The quarantine yellow zone had been forbidden for so long that it existed more as legend than reality. Maps showed it as blank space. Warning beacons at its borders told ships to turn back. No one questioned why. They simply obeyed. Velthus watched the sensor officer, a slug-like being named Morth, review the incoming data. Morth's eye stalk suddenly stiffened. "Elder, I have something," Morth announced. "A derelict station, approximately 2 light hours from our position. Very old construction, and there is another reading. A small vessel. It appears to be functional." "Show me," Thressen ordered. The main screen changed to display a magnified image. The station was ancient, falling apart, but near it floated a small ship. It looked primitive compared to council vessels, angular instead of smooth, with visible seams and what appeared to be external fuel tanks. "That ship is broadcasting a signal," Morth continued, repeating message in an unknown language. "Can we translate it?" Thressen asked. "The translation computer is working on it now," the communications officer replied. After a moment, text appeared on the screen. "Requesting assistance. Life support damaged. 3 souls aboard. Please respond." The crew exchanged glances. 3 beings were alive in the quarantine zone. "Take us to that vessel," Thressen commanded. "Prepare a medical team. And remember first contact protocols. We approach peacefully and with respect." As they drew closer, Velthas felt his hearts beating faster. He kept thinking about the files he had read. About Earth, about humans. Could it be? The primitive ship grew larger on the screen. Velthas noticed details now, writing on its hull in a script he did not recognize. A symbol that might have been a flag or identification marker. "They are hailing us," the communications officer said. "Open a channel," Thressen replied. The screen split, showing 3 figures inside the other ship. They wore protective suits, bulky and crude by council standards. Through their transparent helmets, Velthas could see their faces, bipedal, forward-facing eyes, flat faces with minimal snouts, hair on top of their heads. They looked exactly like the images in the old files. Humans. One of them spoke, and the translation computer rendered it into trade language. "Thank you for responding. My name is Day. These are my companions, Hana and Wu. We are from Earth. Our research vessel was damaged while exploring this region." Earth. The word hung in the air like a weapon. Elder Thressen recovered her composure quickly. "I am Elder Thressen of the Galactic Council. We received your distress signal. We will assist you." "Can you dock with our ship?" "Our docking system is incompatible with yours," the one called Day replied. "But we can transfer across in our suits. Our oxygen supply will last approximately 3 more hours." "Understood. We will prepare our airlock." As the channel closed, the crew erupted into urgent whispers. Everyone recognized what humans were. The old stories. The warnings. The reason for the quarantine. Thressen raised one of her forearms for silence. "We follow first contact protocols. These beings are in distress. We will help them. But remain cautious." Velthas joined the group waiting at the airlock. He wanted to see humans up close, to know if the legends were true. The airlock cycled. 3 figures stepped through. They were tall, taller than Velthas expected. Even in the bulky suits, he could see they moved with controlled grace. Not the clumsy waddle of peaceful herbivores. Not the nervous quickness of prey species. They moved like hunters. Like they owned whatever space they occupied. Day removed his helmet first. His face was young but weathered. His eyes scanned the room quickly, assessing. The eyes of a predator checking for threats. Then he smiled and suddenly looked harmless and friendly. "Thank you again for the rescue," Day said. We have been stranded for 3 weeks. I was worried we might not make it. Hana removed her helmet next. She was shorter than Day, with long dark hair tied back. Her eyes were kind but alert. She nodded politely to the council crew. Wu was the last. He looked older, with lines around his eyes. He carried a data pad and was already scanning their surroundings with scientific interest. "Please come with us to medical," Thressen said. "Our doctor will examine you to ensure you were not harmed during your ordeal." They followed the crew through the corridors. Velthas walked behind them, watching. The humans looked around with open curiosity, pointing at things and whispering to each other. They seemed normal, friendly even. The medical bay was run by Chirix, an insectoid doctor from Thressen's homeworld. Chirix approached the humans with professional calm, but Velthas noticed his mandibles clicking nervously. "Please sit," Chirix said, gesturing to the examination tables. "I must scan your biology to ensure proper care." The humans complied. Chirix ran his scanners over each of them. As data appeared on his screens, his clicking grew more agitated. "This cannot be correct," Chirix muttered. "These readings, is something wrong?" Hana asked. "Your blood," Chirix said slowly. "It uses iron to transport oxygen. Iron, that is highly corrosive, and your stomach contains acid strong enough to dissolve metal. Your body temperature would cook most species from the inside. How are you alive?" Wu laughed, a strange barking sound that made several crew members jump. "That is normal for us. We evolved on a planet with high oxygen and diverse food sources. Our bodies adapted." "Adapted," Chirix repeated weakly. He looked at more data. "You have an immune system that constantly attacks foreign organisms. Your bones are reinforced with dense calcium. Your muscles can operate in both aerobic and anaerobic conditions. You are built for endurance and combat." "Well, yes," Day said carefully. "Earth is a challenging world. We had to be tough to survive." Veltha stepped forward. "How long has your species had faster-than-light travel?" The 3 humans exchanged glances. "About 200 years, Hana answered. The council crew members gasped. 200 years. Most species took millions of years to develop such technology. Some never achieved it at all. How is that possible?" Velthas asked. Wu shrugged, a gesture that seemed to mean, "I do not know," or "it does not matter." "Humans are good at solving problems quickly. We had to be. Our planet kept trying to kill us, so we learned to adapt fast or die out." "Where is this Earth?" Thressen asked. "We have no records of your planet in our charts." "It is about 40 light-years from here," Day said. "In a region you probably have not explored yet. We sent out research teams to map new sectors. Our team drew the short straw and got this empty zone." "It is not empty by accident," Thressen said quietly. "This is a quarantine zone. It has been forbidden for 10,000 years. The humans looked surprised. "Forbidden? Why?" Hana asked. Velthas answered before he could stop himself. "Because of your species. The old records say humans were too dangerous to exist near other species. You were isolated here." Silence filled the medical bay. Day's friendly expression faded. "That is quite an accusation." "It is not an accusation," Thressen said quickly. "It is history. Ancient history. Whatever happened was 10,000 years ago. You 3 have done nothing wrong." "What exactly did our ancestors do?" Wu asked. His voice was calm, but something in his eyes had changed, become harder. "There was a war," Velthas explained, "with a species called the Ravagers. Your people fought them. The Ravagers feared you. They convinced the council to quarantine this region. Day processed this information, and now we stumbled into your space by accident." "Now," Thressen said, "we must decide what this means. For both our peoples." The ship's alarm suddenly blared. The communications officer's voice came through the intercom. "Elder, we have a problem. Multiple ships just entered the sector. They are Ravager design." Everyone froze. "That is impossible," Thressen whispered. "The Ravagers were destroyed millennia ago." On the medical bay screen, Veltas saw them. Sleek black ships with red markings, just like in the old files, and they were heading straight for the Harmony's light. The archive room smelled like dust and old metal. Veltas ran his clawed hand along the data storage units, searching for something interesting. As a young Vorthak scholar, he spent most of his days in these forgotten corners of the Galactic Council's central library. His people were known across 12 star systems as the best record keepers, and Veltas took pride in that legacy. Most scholars preferred the new sections with bright lights and organized files. Velthas liked the old rooms better. They held secrets, stories that people had forgotten or chosen to ignore. Today he found something strange. The data unit was marked with symbols he had never seen before. Red warnings covered its surface. Words in the old trade language said, restricted and council authority only. And something else that made his scales tingle with curiosity. Quarantine yellow, historical threat assessment. Velthas looked around. No one was watching. The head archivist was 3 floors above, probably sleeping at his desk like he did every afternoon. The security cameras in this section had stopped working years ago, and no one bothered to fix them. He connected his datapad to the unit. The files were corrupted, broken into pieces by time and damage. But enough remained to tell a story. A terrifying story. Velthas read slowly, his eyes growing wider with each line. There was a planet called Earth. It was marked as a Class 12 death world, the highest danger rating possible. The report said Earth's atmosphere contained oxygen at levels that would be toxic to most species. The planet experienced extreme temperature swings. Violent storms covered its surface. Earthquakes and volcanoes reshaped the land constantly. The gravity was crushing. But that was not the frightening part. The frightening part was what lived there. Humans, the file called them. Bipedal predators, pursuit hunters, endurance specialists. Velthas read about their biology with growing disbelief. Humans had forward-facing eyes like all predators. Their bodies contained hundreds of complex muscles designed for throwing objects and running long distances. Their brains were wired for pattern recognition and tactical thinking. They could sweat, actually push water through their skin, to cool down during extended hunts. The file described how humans hunted on their ancient world. They would spot prey and simply start running after it. The prey would run away quickly, exhausted after a short sprint. But humans would keep coming, walking when they needed to conserve energy, running when they could, following tracks, following scents, following for hours, for days, until the prey collapsed from exhaustion and the humans would finally catch it. Persistence predation, the file called it. A hunting method that relies on psychological warfare and superior endurance. Velthas felt his blood run cold. He was Vorthak, a species that evolved from peaceful herbivores. The idea of chasing another living thing until it died from exhaustion seemed like something from a horror story. But the files continued. Humans could hold their breath for many minutes. They could survive in temperatures that would freeze or boil other species. Their bones were reinforced with dense calcium structures. Their immune systems fought constant wars inside their own bodies, attacking anything foreign. They healed from wounds that would kill most civilized beings. One section made Velthas sit down hard. Human psychology presents unique dangers. Humans form strong social bonds and will sacrifice themselves for group survival. They experience an adrenaline response that temporarily increases strength and suppresses pain. They can continue fighting with injuries that should incapacitate them. Mental state described as stubbornness prevents logical surrender even in hopeless situations. Another file contained military reports. A species called the Ravagers had encountered humans long ago. The Ravagers were cybernetic warriors, enhanced with technology and weapons. They conquered hundreds of worlds. They feared nothing until they met humans. The war had been brief but brutal. Every time the Ravagers thought they had won, humans would come back. Wounded humans would return to fight. Defeated human fleets would regroup and attack again. Humans turned their own civilian ships into weapons. They fought in ways that made no logical sense, ways that prioritized winning over survival. The Ravagers had retreated. They told the young Galactic Council that humans were too dangerous to exist alongside peaceful species. A decision was made. Humans would be isolated in their part of space, a quarantine zone, for everyone's safety. That was 10,000 years ago. Velthas sat back, his mind spinning. These files had to be exaggerations. Propaganda, maybe. The Galactic Council taught that evolution favored cooperation and peace. Violent species destroyed themselves before reaching the stars. It was a universal law, but what if it was not? His datapad chimed. A new message marked urgent. All senior scholars and researchers were summoned to the central command deck. Something had happened at the edge of council space. Velthas disconnected from the old data unit and headed to the transport lift. As he traveled upward, he could not stop thinking about the files. About Earth. About humans. The command deck was crowded when he arrived. Elder Thressen, a respected leader from the insectoid cheer species, stood at the center of the room. Her forearms gestured at a holographic display showing a star map. 3 hours ago, we received a distress signal, Thressen announced. Her translator device made her clicking speech sound calm and clear. It came from the Quarantine Yellow sector. Murmurs filled the room. Quarantine Yellow was the old prohibited zone. No one went there. No one was supposed to be there. We are organizing an expedition, Thressen continued. We need volunteers. Scientists, engineers, diplomats. This could be a historic moment. First contact with whatever still lives in that forgotten region. Velthas raised his hand before he could think better of it. I volunteer, he said. His voice sounded steadier than he felt. Thressen looked at him with her multifaceted eyes. You are very young for such a mission, Velthas. I have been studying the old records, Velthas replied. It was not quite a lie. I believe I can help identify what we might find. Thressen considered this, then nodded. Very well. Report to Docking Bay 7 in 2 hours. Bring everything you need for a month-long journey. As the meeting ended and scholars filed out, Velthas stood still for a moment. He looked at the star map, at the dark region marked Quarantine Yellow. Somewhere in that empty space was Earth, and possibly humans. He told himself they could not be as dangerous as the files suggested. 10,000 years of isolation would have changed them. Maybe they had evolved past their violent nature. Maybe they had become peaceful like every other advanced species. Maybe the legends were just stories meant to scare young scholars. But deep down, in the part of his mind that still remembered when his ancestors ran from predators, Velthas wondered. He wondered what they would find in that quarantined space. And he wondered if some legends existed because they were true. 2 hours later, he boarded the ship Harmony's Light with 12 other researchers. The vessel departed from the station and jumped into faster-than-light travel, heading toward a region of space that had been empty for 10,000 years. Velthas spent the journey reading his copied files about humans, memorizing every detail. If they really did encounter these creatures, he wanted to be prepared. He had no idea that nothing could prepare him for what was coming.